Now, I want to turn from that to a cultural story. Because, the culture matters a lot to me. I think it is where the battles of America are actually fought and won and lost. And last night they had the Golden Globes, and that's not what I'm going to be talking about because I don't care about the Golden Globes. The Golden Globes is a bunch of drunken international journalists whose opinion nobody cares about. Just kind of they like the perks they get for having an award ceremony, so they build it up. So last night's was not as bad. Who won? I think Green Book won for drama, which drove the left insane because it has a nice relationship between a white man and a black man in it. They don't like that. It's always got to be the white person's always got to be oppressive, and it can't have any nice white people. But mostly, it was kind of unpolitical. They even made jokes about being nice and not getting too political. Christian Bale was the worst. He's starred in Vice, which is that attack on Dick Cheney and George W. Bush. Big surprise. Hollywood doesn't like Republicans. What a shock. I'm going to run out to the movie theater to see that because it's so important to me to know what these guys think. So here is Bale at the awards ceremony thanking Adam McKay, the director, and attacking Dick Cheney, who he plays in the movie.
He said, I've got to find somebody who can be absolutely charisma-free and reviled by everybody. So he went, that's got to be Bale in it, Thank you. And for all the competition, I will be cornering the market on charisma-free. What do you think? Mitch McConnell next? That could be good, couldn't it? Thank you to Satan for giving me inspiration on how to play this role.
So Christian Bale, by the way, one of our writers at the Daily Wire pointed out that when he went on Fox News to promote the film, he spoke very highly, very nicely about Dick Cheney. And I know some stuff about Christian Bale that I'm not allowed to say, but he does conform differently. But let's also remember that this is a guy who was questioned about beating up his mother in Britain. This was the guy who famously went off on the DP, the director of photography, on it was Terminator Salvation, I think, where he screamed at the guy for walking in his eye line while he was trying to act, and he just unloaded all these obscenities. So whenever you hear people in Hollywood talking, you always have to remember that these are not the stately statesmen and pastors and high-brow people. These are people who are you used to lock up your daughters when actors came to town because you knew they were disreputable. Now they're still disreputable, but we listen to their opinions, and that is what we expect from Hollywood. That's not what bothers me. What bothers me was Peggy Noonan's latest column. And let me begin this by saying I love Peggy Noonan. I have a lot of respect for her. I've said it before. She was one of the few women columnists who writes like a woman. She's gracious. She's open-minded. She's warm. She is generous to the people on the other side. I don't always agree with her. That's not required. But I always find her opinion really interesting and different. She has a lot of experience as a speechwriter in the Reagan administration, so she knows how government works. I really like her, and when I strongly disagree with this column, it is not a personal attack on her. It is simply something that cut me to the quick, okay? She wrote a column called Baby, There's a Chilling Effect Outside, about the effect of political correctness on the arts. And she starts out by saying, my greatest hope for 2019 is cultural. It is that the left will rise and do what only it can do, strike a blow against political correctness in the arts and entertainment. All artists are meant to be free and daring. And she talks about how this has a chilling effect, this political correctness. People are quiet, people shut down. She talks about Baby, It's Cold Outside. She talks about famous works of art that could not be made now because they would be shouted down for being politically incorrect. So here's the key paragraph that kind of it hurt my heart to read this. She said, but an end to political correctness in the arts and entertainment cannot come from the right. It can come only from the left. All the organs of entertainment and art in America, from Broadway to Hollywood through Netflix, the museums and onward, are entities of the cultural left. They are run and populated by the cultural left. They have the pertinent power. When conservatives write or speak against limits on free speech, what they say is heard by the left as mere reaction, a cover for intolerance, and so it's dismissed. The left will listen only to entities of the left who say enough. Art needs air, and that air is freedom, and she calls on the left to get rid of political correctness. So here's what I'm thinking. Like, I am busting my chops creating culture. I know other right-wing artists busting their chops creating culture. I just happen to be particularly good at it. Knowles and Jonathan Hay and I, we made those podcasts, Another Kingdom. The novel will be out in March. The audiobook with Knowles reading will be out in March. If this is not a work of culture, I don't know what is. Where is the right recognizing the stuff that is being done in spite of the fact that all the corporate entities, the Netflix and the movie and the Hollywood entities, that they all do belong to the left? In other words, instead of calling for the left to heal itself, why isn't Peggy Noonan giving some love to the people on the right? We're the revolution. We're the cultural revolution, but there is simply no infrastructure on the right to call us to mind, to bring attention to us, to award us for the work we do, and to reward us for the work we do with reviews. Instead of calling on the left to continue their cultural onslaught, but do it without the political correctness that gets in the way of their talent, because many leftist artists are talented too. I'm not saying they should be shut down at all. I'm simply saying, why should someone on the right, like Peggy Noonan, who is so talented and so insightful, why should she be calling for the left to heal itself instead of calling for the right to heal itself? Who cares what they think? Who cares what the New York Times thinks? Who cares? Why isn't Another Kingdom being reviewed in the Wall Street Journal? Because we seriously do not care what the New York Times thinks of us. We think they are old fuddy-duddies, closed-minded, miserable leftists, fools. We don't want their good reviews, but it would be nice if instead of calling for the left to heal itself, Peggy was in the paper calling for right-wing artists who are working so hard in such difficult situations to be recognized, calling for an infrastructure to award them, to give them grants, to give them awards, to give them the love, which is what artists work for. It drove me crazy. It drives me crazy that the assumption that all art is made by the left is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Once you grant them that, once you say, well, that's just the way it is, all art will be made by the left forever. All culture will be formed by the left forever. And by the time you show up at the ballot box, it's not going to matter. It's not going to make a damn bit of difference because people's minds and hearts will have been shaped by the art that they see. Poets are the unacknowledged legislators of the world. As Percy Shelley said, as Andrew Breitbart liked to say, politics is downstream from culture. They shape the conscience, the artists shape the conscience of their people. And to cede that incredibly powerful power to that incredibly powerful throne to the left, instead of turning around and offering a hand to the right, is just a major, major mistake.